Based on where I sit, holding a title and a position concerning NAACP, we have a long way to go. Matter of fact, we are in reverse somewhat when it comes to addressing and taking on challenges. Now, the average person wouldn't even think that 2014, we're still having those same issues. In 2014, there's at least 7 different states that have initiated new voter ID bills. Oklahoma just happened to be one of those with a voter ID bill. My organization, as well as myself, we feel as though any form of voter ID is a form of voter suppression. So where are we at? That's where we're at. Bottom line is, you don't give up, you don't give in, you continue to do what you do, address the issue and keep it moving.
We're becoming more aware of our own diversity, for starters, and I think we are, and I see that as a positive thing, essentially. And I think we're coming to terms with it, sometimes at great cost and with overcoming great resistance to that. But I think by and large, we're getting comfortable with the issue of diversity. Sometimes I get frustrated because I think Oklahoma is coming late to the party. We behave as if when we discover inequities and correct them, we behave as if we're the first discoverers of those inequities, and we certainly are not.
We've made a lot of progress, I'm going to say, in many areas. Education, you can now go to any school. You can now live anywhere. You can do everything that the law told you you couldn't do back then. So when you look at that, yes, that's a change. But then you ask your question, have we really made a change? Are we still integrated, but yet we're segregated? And I would say to some extent, yes, but it's not because it has to be that way due to the law. If so, it's more by choice than by law. And I'm telling people that don't assume, though, that it will stay that way, because it is easy for laws to come back in a different way. And that's why you have to stay up on your history, and you have to stay up with what's going on so that we don't go back to the way it has been.
Obviously that we still have some very difficult challenges ahead of us, because what the status of our young people today is in many ways worse off than it was prior to integration. Integration was thought to be the solution, the equalizer to education. They thought giving everybody, removing the racial boundaries and the restrictions on education would pretty much give all students a chance to get a good education. And something in that formula has not worked out. My fear is that not enough people know the history and can appreciate the history and the sacrifices that were made, to get us to this point.
Civil rights never really start and end; they just continue to evolve. And I think we're still shaped today, and we're continuing to evolve by the actions of that era and the brave men and women who finally stood up and said, we can do better. I want to have an inclusive city, and you can define that in a lot of different ways, but I define it as I want everyone to feel welcome.